Yeah, it's just pressed record already here. It's fucking crazy.
Count in.
Recording in progress.
Fuck. For some reason, that's always like 10 times louder than your voice.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the Zoom person, so it's important. You know, it's just telling you important stuff.
Yeah, recording in progress.
How's your levels?
Sounds great. Everything's great.
Yeah. Do you want to play a tune?
Yeah,
See-
why don't
see
you
if it's on.
throw something on?
Just let me know if it's loud enough or too loud. How is it?
Never loud enough with this riff, dude.
That's what I'm talking about. This is pure doom.
Yeah.
Cokiest of all time. Nice
This
snare
is-
sound.
This might be the one that he played Bob Dylan when.
Let's just let it play out.
Yeah.
I wonder what's the right form. Love song written for you. It's been going down for years. But to sing what's in my heart seems more honest than the tears. I am curious. You wanna hurry us?
It's ripping.
Good rhyme.
I may treat with us.
Here we go. This is the big bit for me.
Ain't this song a bust? I don't care. I'm star. I met you so
That's what I'm talking about. Pure
Nice.
doom.
Yeah. Did they do that one on the on the
I don't know.
DT?
I think that's their like comeback record from being so on coke. I
Yeah.
think they're on Crosby's boat on the front cover of it.
Oh, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's self-titled. They couldn't even
Yeah.
come up with a title.
Shadow Captain. That's the one where Crosby feels like he kind of like offered a lot, I think. You know, he feels like there's a lot of good stuff from him on there. A lot of kind of, he started writing lyrics again.
Wouldn't it be funny if, because, like, you know, part of the Welcome to Impossible Way of Life once and always will be your Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, mostly
Official.
Crosby.
Podcast.
Yeah, mostly Crosby, whole lot of Stills,
Yeah.
some Nash, and a little bit of Young.
I think not enough Young because he's just,
Yeah.
he's beyond reproach.
Yeah.
Although we might get into it with Jess, like, based on that video that she sent us of,
Yeah,
of
there's a lot of...
Neil proving once and for all that he's a Canadian because he didn't do any of the American Live Aid stuff, but he did a CanCon.
Yeah, that's going to be big next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Have my friend Jessica on it to talk about virtue signaling celebrity gatherings and videos. But it's cool because we'll talk about this next week, we're not going into it, but
Yes,
because she knows all about these videos, but she doesn't know like the Canadian details that we know because we
Yes.
live here. Like she didn't really know like who David Foster is.
Of course,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Because like why would you if you live in LA, you know? But we know him because
Because of Buble as well.
yeah, and like Bryan Adams and stuff. you know?
Balance. We got to talk about these guys.
Yeah.
They're kicking around Vancouver, these guys.
Yeah, 100%. Well, there was a lot of money floating around back then in Vancouver. you
Yeah,
know?
well-
whole lot of loonies and
A whole
toonies.
lot of, well, I mean,
no
listen,
toonies, but-
Aerosmith, if Aerosmith are coming up here to record records, you know there's going to be and Metallica, and these are the biggest bands in the
There's a
world.
lot of money flying around this city back then. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And a lot of coke.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, let's not get into that. And also,
No.
like, how are you, man? Like, what, you know, I'm realizing now that it's been a while since we've actually been in the same room together. We'll go out for a beer this Friday, I think, me and you. Let's
Friday.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Friday we'll reunite, which will be great. And
Thinking of
yeah,
hitting the Legion up, or as it's now known,
Hero is welcome.
or something like that. It's basically in Vancouver, near where Johnny's kind of gone Lou Reed on me. He's kind of moved east, so he's kind of more in the kind of nitty gritty. We were saying it's like kind of the Dan Behar side of
I'm
Vancouver.
trying not to
let it affect
let it
you.
affect kind
Yeah.
of my West Coast mentality.
West side of Vancouver mentality where I live, yeah, which is more
Yeah.
kind of like Rainbow Road, kind of hippie, peace, love, and the nom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So-
and I still very much feel that way, even though the harsh streets of the East Side
Yeah, it's
are
kind of
really...
like exactly like a Springsteen kind of
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Down
Yeah.
by the docks, Frank Zabotka.
yeah, it's really
That kind of
starting
vibe.
to infect my
Have
personality.
you got any kind of, are your jeans tighter?
Yeah, and just kind of, I'm wearing a lot more kind of like black boots and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
for
You know what I
sure,
mean?
yeah.
Punk
No, I
is
get
kind
it.
of a
You kind of punk?
bit. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
getting there.
Well,
Getting
you
there.
first thing I noticed when you moved over there was you made that kind of pop punk kind of like power pop. I know
Exactly.
you've always liked that stuff, but I was looking at the songs on it. It's getting a little bit just straight punk for me.
Yeah, and I don't know why I just gravitated back to that. And then I had that beard,
Yeah.
like when I first moved over here, and then I was like,
that
"What
kind
is
of
this?"
McCartney beard.
Yeah, and was like, "What is this hippie bullshit?" And I just
Yeah.
like shaved
Hated
it off
myself.
yesterday. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
straight at with a straight razor.
Yeah,
too,
kind of
you know?
taxi driver.
Yeah,
kind of vibes.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of thing. So
Someday, great rain's gonna come and clean up these streets.
that's what
Kinda
I'm
that
doing. I
vibe.
pulled out my green army jacket. I've just been walking up and
exactly.
down.
Yeah, just watching people through windows.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know what's happening, but I'm trying hard not to let it
100%.
get
It's tough.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sunny over here.
I can't believe. Yeah, right here it's just pissing rain all day and night.
Over
That's
here,
it.
it's like I was down at the beach today. It was kind of like my kind of best practice, start the year, kind of doing some kind of sun salutations.
Right.
Downward dog community.
No,
Kind of.
I start my year just smoking fucking Marlboro Reds and drinking
yeah,
coffee.
Luckies,
now.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like butts,
Yeah.
like it's
Smoking like a whole cigarette in one inhale.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
like fucking stomping it out with my boot, and then just
Makes
spitting
sense.
on the street.
Just
and-
wishing it was someone's face. You were
Yeah.
curb stomping someone. That kind of vibe. That kind of energy. Good
Well,
stuff.
yeah, I wouldn't say violence has really started to creep into it yet, but I'm not ruling it out.
It's latent, though, isn't it? If you have to do what you have to do, you know what I mean?
Well, a lot of things getting to me lately. Let's say that. You know what I mean?
yeah. But, it does come, living on the east side, like, does come with a lot of kind of perks. You live in on a kind of vibrant, kind of, more of a kind of arty kind of neighborhood, it's
Sure,
kinda-
yeah.
So you can go get, like, I don't know, like, a kind of minimalist coffee.
Yeah.
A lot of smoothie options, bad Mexican food, and a lot of kind of vegan soy products, but also like a couple of nice record stores up there, like Red Cat, really great Red Cat.
Really
Shout
love
out to Red Cat.
Yeah, I love Zulu Records. It's got a big place in my heart. And but there isn't really. I wouldn't say there's a record store rivalry.
No, there's
in
no
Vancouver.
rivalry. No, it's very
a lot of
supportive community.
everybody, likes each other. I know this.
Yeah, as an insider.
Yeah. And so I have no shame in saying that I have been going to Red Cat a little bit. Very nice people in there.
Super nice.
Nice selection. I went in there the other day actually and had sometimes, because we have this podcast here,
Yeah,
Impossible
100%.
Way of Life.
I've heard of it.
And so sometimes,
been there.
as you also know, it'll just kind of the eye wall creeps into your real life, and you can't help but notice when you overhear something. You say, this is very much like eye wall energy, right?
Yeah.
So I was in there the other day going through their 45s.
Nice. I mean, that's pretty. You're already kind of doing it yourself there. To be honest.
Oh, I'm backing.
Crate
I love the 7-inch singles, and they got this great. I don't even want to say it actually, even in case people from Vancouver listen to this, because I don't want them going through it because they had this. Anyway, never mind. Actually, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
And I was looking through some records, and it was like couldn't help but overhear this guy in there that it seemed like he maybe was in there with sort of like his protege or something like that. Because it was like he was an older guy, maybe 50s, 60s. And this other guy was like maybe late 20s, early 30s,
This guy's like who John Cusack would have become if High Fidelity was still playing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he was sort of just walking him around the record store and just kind of, just teaching him.
Kind of like Robert Duvall in Days of Thunder.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of,
that kind of,
yeah. With Tom Cruise.
Yeah, no,
That vibe. Just walking around the car, that scene where he's like walking around the car.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
or maybe like a Karate Kid vibe.
Yeah, sure. No, it was almost more of a kind of like Donnie Brasco.
Nice.
Kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pacino and Johnny
100%.
Depp.
Or
thing.
like, maybe Spy Game, Redford Pitt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mentor kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And
you got to be able to leave, in 30 seconds.
Yeah, Gone in 60 Seconds. Kind of Duvall in that.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So he's walking around, and then I just, my ears perk up when I hear he says, "Oh, here we are, Joe Satriani."
Nice.
Gets to the Satriani section. He's like, "Now you remember?" He's like, and the young guy's like, "I don't really know who this is." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Okay, you know that album I played you, Surfing with the Alien, right?"
Nice.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He's like, "Okay, so like that's a good starting point."
Yeah.
He's like, "But you need to check out all of these, okay?" And he's like, the thing about Joe is like he's technical, but he also plays with a lot of melody.
Yeah, we're back there again. Hey?
And that's what kind of got me, that line, because I was like, well, what the fuck does that mean? I think
sometimes you're looking for pure technique. I don't think you even want any tunes or like melody, just pure technique. And then sometimes, on the other side, you're listening to like melody. And this lucky guy, Satriani, and obviously this aficionado's figured this out, is able to combine technique and melody.
So some people like it all that matters is like how clean they hit the note.
How well
the
tuned it is.
The note itself doesn't matter whatsoever.
No, they're listening to how clean it is, if it's tuned, what gauge strings, the pick hitting the string, what pickups are being used, how well how the fidelity of that being transferred, to their, to their audiophile equipment. Everyone knows. Everyone listening to this podcast is an aficionado, okay, of, vinyl stores. And, some would say that the time to like kind of talk high fidelity style in record stores or bars has passed.
Yeah.
Some would say it's even old, kind of boring, passé. But no, now is the time, I think. And I like most people, I don't know if everyone else does this, like when I'm in a record store, I like to raise my voice a couple of dBs.
I think that's what was going on here for sure.
Just so people know I know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But also, like, it's a different, I raise it a couple of dBs, like, and this isn't a digit. I use it like as if it was like a VU meter at home. Mm-hmm.
So, just to clarify here, so you're telling me that the reason that Joe Satriani is kind of regarded, in that high esteem, is that he's able to combine technique and melody, which probably I'm not an expert on the. I assume very few guitar players can do.
Very few people combine the two. You've got kind of melody guys like the Ramones. Yeah.
Sure, or maybe even like a Jimmy Page, maybe.
Yeah, raw. I think people refer to him as kind of raw. But I think, you've got people like Malmsteen and Vi. They're all technique, I think.
That's all technique.
Yeah, I think so. And then like Eric Johnson, a lot of speed, but like melody, I think. I think he's in that.
He kind of does both, I think.
Yeah, well, I think that's a lot to do with him just playing a Strat instead of like a super Strat. I think it's got a lot to do with that too.
What about like a Stevie Ray? Does blues kind of count?
I don't think
in this?
Well, and we've already discussed this because that's kind of that's the genesis of the technically best guitarist debate comes from.
Right.
But
these guys aren't really blues, are they?
No, they're shredders, I think, aren't they?
What's the genre? What is their genre?
I don't know. Let's see what the internet says.
Joe Satriani.
Malmsteen. I think it's just about how quick they can play a lot of the time.
I wonder, do they call it like, what is Eric Johnson's?
Instrumental hard rock.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
There's a lot of people asking questions. Is Joe Satriani metal? Is he blues? Apparently, he can be considered blues.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This.
What about
this is a-
Eric Johnson?
I think
what's
he's
his
got a
genre?
bluesy look.
Yeah, but what's
Okay,
his
well,
genre?
Listen, I've found exactly where we need to be.
Okay.
The Reddit subreddit. What genre is Joe Satriani? So this guy is it's complex, and he's perplexed. He likes Joe Satriani's music, particularly Surfing with the Alien and Time Machine.
Sure.
But I've been really struggling to know how to classify this music.
Okay.
So let's see what.
So
people
have
say.
I.
Yeah, guitar-based instrumental rock. Some other guys similar to check out: Vinnie Moore, Steve Vai, Eric Johnson. Mm-hmm. They got a lot of people here.
Well, Surfing with
this guy says Satriani. What I said, Satriani stuff is often referred to as shred.
Okay. Shred.
Sorry, you just cut out. You're cutting out, dude.
Oh, am I back now?
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Sometimes when that happens, listeners, I have to go and fine tune and edit Johnny's recordings he sends me.
That was only about 3 seconds, though. I feel like everyone's pretty.
Could have
chill.
been me. I mean, I don't know. It could have been my thing. We're talking about some really important stuff here.
Shred genre.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Luke knows what it is.
Well, all I know is that, as far as I've always heard, Surfing with the Alien is the dark side of the moon of guitar-based instrumental hard rock.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes total sense. All I know is I have a go bag at the door of my house. Mm-hmm. When I go to a record store, like Protégé guy, I like to take some records with me just so people know I'm serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got
Not to trade in. Like you
No,
you
just-
go up to
they're
the
just-
counter, you say, "What would you give me for these if I was willing
Yeah,
to
like-
sell them?" Which
yeah,
I'm not. Which I'm not.
Every Radiohead album unplayed and sealed. Mm-hmm. I got Bandwagon-esque in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got a copy of Roman Candle by Elliott Smith signed.
Wow.
Aphex Twin Caustic Window, the test pressing.
Do you actually have these?
Quarrymen, That'll Be the Day. I've got that.
Oh, sure.
And, and I think somewhere in that specific go bag, I've got Yesterday and Today sealed Beatles. So
Butcher cover.
yeah, exactly. And I like to also I have the soundtrack to High Fidelity, and I have the soundtrack to Sideways, signed by Cusack and Giamatti. I've got
where are you getting this shit
Franny and Zooey, just a cover of just a book.
Are you on like a Reddit website right now where somebody's saying all the rare records they have?
Oh man, I'm just spitting. This is kind of what's in my go bag if I need to impress people.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and a
impressive
copy of
list.
Ask the Dust as well.
Just, the book, just sitting around.
Yeah, just in my
Really
bag.
worn in. I've read it 10 times.
Oh yeah, I've read it, and also lots of pins on the front of my, because it's a knapsack, right?
Yeah.
It's for records.
Buttons, yeah.
A lot of buttons, yeah.
Just kind of like what would Raymond Carver do?
Well, like that
One of
kind of
them
stuff. A lot of and then just like a lot of mod stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of Bell and Sebastian 7-inches, and you know how it goes.
I mean, I do,
Bound
but
to impress them with that kind of stuff.
That's an impressive list, though. I'm certainly...
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
have
and
any,
Loveless. I've got Loveless. Unlistened to.
I don't have any pieces that choice, personally, but...
Don't have a little copy of Psycho Candy in its seal still somewhere back there?
I don't have Psycho Candy sealed.
No?
Yeah. I don't, because that's my problem. Is I listen to them all. So a lot of aficionados would say I'm not an aficionado
Philistine, because you actually listen.
I play them and thus ruin them.
Yeah.
It's ruins.
It's not about
to play
listening
it.
to it. It's about
No.
owning it.
Yeah, I know, and carrying it with you
Yeah. Exactly.
into coffee shops, bookstores.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The brick house.
Yeah, on the subway, the SkyTrain, the bus.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Places
exactly.
that, you could be seen.
And the more transparent your tote bag is, the better, kind of, so people can see what's inside.
Yeah, that's my vibe for sure. Before we get onto the real, meat of the bone.
Yeah, because I want to get into it.
CSNY. Just worth bringing up that this week the Rolling Stones found their own lost footage.
Oh, yeah,
Although
that's right.
It didn't sound very good. It's like not, but the Brio brothers are on it, which is cool.
But there's no sound, right?
There's no sound, and which is I think is very Stonesy, kind of like Cocksucker Blues vibe, very like poor recording.
Yeah,
You know,
but even that has some sound when he's like ordering strawberries in his room and all that. You know.
or when like they're Mick and Keith are just skagged out in the front of the plane, and all the roadies have got strippers with them.
Yeah.
It's really bleak stuff.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, we're going to talk about the Doom Tour finally here, and then we're going to get a DVD and CD box set because unfortunately,
Assumably, we're gonna get a DVD player too.
Well, that's the
I don't know how
issue.
the fuck we're gonna play
well,
it.
ask Al Stewart because he's the last person to put out a
They should
3
sell it.
CD, 1 DVD.
They
We should come
should
with.
sell. Yes, 3 CD, 1 DVD, 1 DVD player box set would be good. One
Does-
CD player. Yeah.
Does does your Blu-ray player work?
Yeah, it should work. Depending on like what kind of quality, like maybe the DVD's too like the technology's too old or something. We'll see.
Yeah,
I've never even used it, but I have one. It'll work.
exactly.
Yeah.
We can always go over to like anyone's parents.
You know, there was like that's true. You know, there was like a period where I thought maybe I'd like get into like Criterion.
Nice.
So I bought it. Oh, this is almost like an aficionado.
This is you're
kind of
doing
thing.
it again.
Like for a
Despite
second,
yourself.
there was a minute that I was like, I'm gonna get a Blu-ray player and just like have like
Only
some,
watch Blu-ray.
some Criterion of like Paris, Texas, and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Vendors. Were you going to get a 5.1 setup?
Yeah, and I got it all, and then I haven't bought any Blu-rays, and it's
Nice.
just kind of sitting.
Oh,
here,
you've
but
seen Paris, Texas, just regular DVD?
multiple times.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
but just the regular DVD. I don't
yeah.
trust. Yeah, it was. You know, I may as well be watching it on a fucking plane. You know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
without the Vim Vendors commentary track, I
Yeah,
can't even watch
exactly.
it anymore personally.
No.
But
that guy's in that one who everyone loves, but no one really loved when he was alive, isn't he?
Harry Dean Stanton, I did.
Yeah,
I
well,
did.
of course you did, because you're the fucking aficionado guy.
He's great.
You probably like that country singer that no one liked who died last year too.
Who? John Prine?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Talk about paint a vulgar picture. When these guys go, you know, and they die, and everyone comes out the woodwork, and it's like a race to see who can post about it first. And you're like, you've never named 3 songs. I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the response is going to be when Steven Stills dies? Like as far as like the people you're talking about who the stars look very different, do you think he's
Yeah.
going to get really any of that?
I think that I have a feeling that Steven Stills, if you knew him and in the community that he's in, that he's probably quite liked.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, like, he definitely has a bit of like Asperger's, I think. You know, we've kind of gone over this. I think he's just a bit of a weird guy.
No doubt. I just wonder if he has the kind of legacy amongst like hipsters, you know, that like a Leonard Cohen.
No, of course
but,
not. Only Neil.
Yeah, but even John Prine kind of got some of that. You know what I mean? I think even more than Stills. Like I think Stills, like people, I doubt
4 and 20 years ago.
I think I know a lot of people that couldn't name one Steven Stills song.
Yeah.
You know?
Love the one you're with.
Maybe like
Helplessly Hoping.
Sweet Judy Blue Eyes,
Yeah.
maybe.
I like, I think that getting into the, so we're talking about this article that we spoke about it on the last episode, but for people who aren't patrons, become patrons. But there's an article in the Rolling Stone called The Oral History of CSNY's Infamous Doom Tour. And me and Johnny first read this a couple of years ago, and it's fucking hilarious because it's just an oral history, meaning that it's just quotes from everyone who was involved, except for Neil, because obviously he can't.
He doesn't
doing
care
anything or give a shit about the time. And actually, like, some of the quotes are insane. But
I have
Steven
a list
Stills,
of some good ones.
Oh, I've got lots, and they're kind of in chronological order. But this one's good.
How about a little backstory about?
sure.
Just
Yeah,
want to
set the
tell
scene.
everybody
Set
what
the
the
scene.
Doom Tour was.
Set
So
the scene.
what happened is that Crosby, Stills, and Nash and maybe Young had another tour. I guess maybe like the Four-Way Street tour
Human
or something.
Highway or something.
Yeah, and it was really quite bad. And so they decided to
I don't know if I even know this.
Yeah, and so they had taken a little time off, I think, and then they decided to book what was the biggest tour in U.S. history, maybe world
Kinda
history
Dave Matthews
at that
level.
time. Like stadium tour, tons of shows, like 100,000 people in the crowd. They were going to do electric set, acoustic set,
They
everything.
played for 3 hours a night, I think.
Yeah, and it was like
I wouldn't even watch the Beatles for 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you said that right.
Yeah, about 45 minutes I got on me.
And it was super lavish, like all the fanciest hotels, everything, so much cocaine. Like it was like just sort of the most decadent tour that kind of was really over the top and went really badly. Apparently sounded terrible, all the stuff. We'll get into it. But it's really just hilarious because it's kind of the quintessential obscene rock star.
Well, first
tour.
quote here, Graham
Yeah.
Nash. We actually had a guy that was employed on the tour to provide us with cocaine.
Yeah.
We needed I can't listen to him without thinking of the voice.
Yeah.
We needed an incredible amount of energy to pull off that tour. And I'm sure it helped in a way, but it is a very subtly destructive drug, and there was a lot of it round. We were rock stars at the height of our power and the height of our commerciality, and at the height of our abilities. We had it all, and sometimes you need to break that tension. Drugs and women were part of that process.
I
Like
love
somehow
it.
still, yeah, somehow
Like,
still.
I love that kind of like 20 feet from stardom, like style energy where he's like, you wouldn't understand unless you were there. Like you need
Right.
drugs. Kind of an Aerosmith vibe.
Right.
It's like Steven Tyler needs sex.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think Steven Stills has ever had sex.
You don't hear much about that.
No, I don't
in this
think
article. But like, I love that Neil
It
didn't
sounds
even.
like they're trying to capture Bin Laden. That's what I was saying, like, in the last pod. Like, they're just playing, like, Our House. And it sounds like they're, like, in, like, SEAL Team 6.
They
trying to,
talk a
like-
lot about
yeah.
politics in the article.
Like a
yeah,
military, like, it's almost like we're all, like, elite military kind of team up there.
Yeah.
You know?
Meanwhile, Neil's like on a bus. He
Yeah,
didn't
he's-
even hang out with them the whole time.
No, he's with his kid on a bus, like an ethanol-powered bus, just
Like
ripping around.
writing like 6 songs every night.
Right,
and
and they say that actually in the article, don't they? That actually, like, all of them are like he was just showing up with like on the beach.
They're
And we're
all
like,
his songs.
fuck.
they're like trying to do like, oh man.
Straight counter here, and you can get into some quotes too. Straight counter from Steven Stills. I love this. This is where he's at. As bad as things got, I don't even think it was the craziest tour I ever did. I had some overly lubricated solo tours later on, and then there was Manassas.
Yeah.
For a few years, my solo career showed up, and it was just messy. I don't run from it, I own it. I left my voice shot. It's cool now because I've gotten it back. The present for me is fine. He's not gotten it back. I've seen it.
It's really one of the this article is really one of the saddest things I've ever read as far as Still's perspective, because he's trying so hard to convince people that he is awesome, and also that he invented like everything to do with
most things.
anything that's cool.
Kind
This
of a
is
Don
what-
Henley vibe.
Yeah, like they were rehearsing at Neil's ranch. They built like an outdoor stage. I like that. We love this part about Stills. One of my favorites. So he says, I had just come back from coral diving in Hawaii. I was tanned and really cut. There's an album cover of a solo album shot at these rehearsals. I look at it now and go, I want that body back.
Kind of a Don Henley vibe.
Yeah, I wore football jerseys before it was cool. People like Jan Wenner would always ask me, what's with the football uniform? I'd say, we're in a football stadium and they're loud and colorful, and I like football. The next year, Mick Jagger shows up with a Philadelphia Eagles uniform at his show. Like, buddy, if you think that Jagger's looking to you for like fashion inspiration, I mean, it's just really quite delusional.
Yeah, I mean, It's hard to tell, like, looking back, because, like, they were bigger than the Stones, I guess. For a window there. It's
Yeah.
hard to say, like, I don't, obviously, like, because, like, Jagger's going to have to come up with, like, a new look, trying to keep up with the kids a little bit.
I
It's
guess,
strange.
but I feel like, what is this, 74?
Yeah, what did
Like
the
Jagger had
Stones
already
up to?
done like some insane outfit stuff. Like I don't think he's really in need of like Stills wasn't really like a fashion guy. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like
no, I guess not. But he's definitely. I mean, isn't he during this time as well? Because like it's the Nixon stuff. This is when Stills has been he's been doing so much coke that he's been telling people that he was in Vietnam.
I thought that maybe happened like on some of those solo ones he's talking about.
Yeah,
here
maybe
that
it's
got-
not quite. That's what he's saying. It's not
because I
as
think
bad.
yeah, he
here.
gets to a point that he doesn't even like know he's on tour later.
No, he honestly.
Yeah.
There's a point. It's in one of those books where like he's genuinely telling. It's in that book. There's that
Yeah.
book I have. Whatever it's like, the Ghosts of the Canyon, whatever it is. That book, which is about it's an insane book about conspiracies, about like everyone being a psyop, like everyone.
Yeah.
Being a military family, like there's like a kind of 5 families gangs in the New York style. Military, like Crosby's family, Jim Morrison's family, Zappa. And even in that book, the guy, he's got this kind of easy kind of angle because he can talk about Stephen Stills literally told people he was in Vietnam. And it doesn't track because he wouldn't have even been like, he would have had to have been like one of the first people to go in.
Yeah.
Based on his age. But the guy won't even touch it. He's like, no, he was just on coke.
I thought that there's one part that they talk about that like it's possible that he could have been like a
gone in
like,
early.
or been like a on a sort of secret mission.
Yeah, exactly.
kind of-
Gone in
yeah.
like Tonkin, like Gulf
Yeah.
of Tonkin, which David
Yeah.
Crosby's dad caused, I think.
Or Jim Morrison maybe. Yeah.
I mean, they all went to school
I'm
together.
realizing right now that all I have is Stills quotes from
okay.
this because they're so absolutely like. Listen to this other claim of his. Stills, they didn't have video screens back then. I remember seeing the Beatles at Dodger Stadium. I thought he invented the Jumbotron, Stephen Stills.
Yeah, he does,
apparently.
yeah. He thinks
I
he
thought
did.
to myself, there should be drive-in movie screens. What's wrong with these people? Years later, I went to New York and tried to sell these pretty heavy-duty guys on how to do concerts. I said to them, you should have drive-in screens with a closed-circuit feed of the show if you're doing things this big. They looked at me like I was from Mars. Who knew that would become the standard for the industry? I was a very inventive 23-year-old punk.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is like, I had friends whose dads, growing up, they'd be like, if I hadn't hurt my like back, I'd be playing football now, but they'd be like 300 pounds and drink like 10 pints a night.
It's
or-
that.
It is that vibe. Like,
It is that vibe.
He should be Henley. That's what he thinks. He's like, I'd have been fucking Don Henley.
Surprised
by
they
now.
didn't team up.
I think, yeah, they
Him
have
and
a
Henley.
similar, maybe similar, too similar energy.
Right. It's kind of like meeting yourself in the
Yes, yeah, sure, in the mirror.
yeah.
Except I don't think Stills killed children. Like, that's where, like, he maybe doesn't get into that elite club.
As far as we know, but yeah, he seems pretty harmless.
I think he's pretty harmless. He's, like, wrote a song about Judy Collins and shit. Like, I don't think so. You never hear of it. Everyone else was fucking. You never hear of anything to do with it.
Because he was always smoke and snort and pop and jam and toke and
Well, he was
suck and-
jamming a lot, for sure.
That's what he was doing. Because he was either partying or jamming, I think, all the time.
It's just funny to imagine, like, you said, I can't wait to hear some of the, I mean, I've heard 4-Way Street front to back. I used to listen to that on acid when I was like 16, when my parents were asleep.
Loved it. Always thought it was like a great
I thought it was
album.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably is. It's not good.
I don't think it's
But,
very good.
there are 18-minute long versions of Carry On when Neil
Oh, I don't want you to clap your hands. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I used to do his voice.
A telling of me, I got to beware.
Oh, and it's... I was reading because Graham Nash put together this 3 DVD, this 1 CD, 3 DVD
Oh,
set.
that's the best. When we get to that, that's the best stuff.
What, that he put it together and he
No, that
couldn't
how-
find
like,
couldn't
how-
find a version of Carry On.
He's like that was the hardest task of my musical career was trying to like
find anything
salvage
good.
any music from the entire tour.
Yeah.
Like he said, we couldn't find a good version of Carry On, and I didn't want to put an inferior piece of music in there. If you believe me, we tried 5 times to find a Carry On. We mixed 5 versions, but tuned 5 versions.
That's kind of they need. Sorry, go on.
But in the end, it wasn't there. With all the other takes and the 40 tracks, you know the best take when you hear it. We never found one with Carry On, and I tried my best, since it's one of our most important tracks, and it would have showcased Stephen brilliantly.
Stephen.
This is also the guy who he mixed it with said, we didn't have a Guinevere. This is the best. And Crosby was in shock.
Yeah.
I said, well, David, you didn't play it at any of the shows we recorded. We wound up taking one from a Crosby Nash concert in December of that year. That's the only song we used that wasn't from the tour.
because David only has 3 songs in it. You know, he needs to get them on there.
You know
Otherwise,
what's
people are going to think that he's not written any songs, which we know is true. But you know,
in that Rogan podcast I listened to, Seth Rogen,
Seth, not Joe.
not Joe Rogan. Crosby says, and I forgot about a song of his. Seth Rogen says, "Do you have a favorite song of yours that you think is the best
Sure.
song you've ever written?" And Crosby says, "Without a doubt, I know which one it is." Do you know which one it is, James?
okay, let me think about it.
He's only got 3, so I'll give you 3 guesses.
Not almost.
No,
cut
actually,
my
there's
hair.
4. There's 4, actually. I think maybe he has.
Triad.
No.
Almost cut my hair.
No.
Long time gone.
No.
Let
He's
me keep
got
guessing.
He's got a few.
Music is love.
No.
Is it
So
on
it
one?
just-
Is it on a solo record?
I can't remember what album it's on. I think it might be on
You Don't Have to Cry is not him. That's a good tune, actually. That one. That's
May-
good, Steven. That's good stills.
I think it's on maybe a Birds album.
Oh, okay. Well, if we're going back,
I
to
don't know if it is.
Birds,
I don't know what album it's on.
Dolphin Smile.
No, it's not Dolphin Smile. It is
Yeah.
Laughing.
Laughing's on his solo record.
Okay, it's on a solo. one.
mistaken.
Yeah. He wrote it for George Harrison, apparently. He told the
Well,
whole
he
story.
also invented George Harrison. So.
I met a man who knew. He met a man who knew what was going on. Yeah, it's
I
his
used to
favorite.
love that record too.
It's good. It's
I don't
good.
know. Hang on, let's pull it up here. Yeah, man, it's
Pretty good.
Indian.
I thought I met a man who said he knew a man who knew.
It's about George Harrison being into Eastern wisdom and philosophies, and he's like telling him not to believe, not to believe in like the Maharishi's teachings.
Oh,
That's what the song's all about.
Warning him.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, it's good that he had a friend to do
yeah.
that.
Love him out of
George.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to the way that Stephen Stills talks about Neil Young's. This really got me. This is my favorite one of the whole
Yeah.
article. Listen to the wording here. Stills, old man.
Oh, dude,
with-
just hang on. Got to stop
Okay,
you.
okay.
I have written down this as the best quote.
Oh,
This is-
nice.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Even though it's kind of niche.
Yeah, it's niche, but it's my favorite. Old Man was just beautiful after we put our harmonies on it. I just listened to a piano solo from that tour. I could have sworn we didn't have a piano player on the stage, and I was like, what? Who? I can't play piano like that. Turns out I can.
Dude, imagine that. There's a lot of cokey moments in this article including Graham Nash having a multiple screen hotel setup of Watergate every night where he just went back.
And it was insane.
But to think that Old Man needs a piano solo is the cokiest decision.
Okay, here's the big bomb drop of this, though, that you're gonna love.
Yeah.
Is that I have watched some of this Doom tour footage.
Yeah.
And I found, because I don't think he's just saying I listened to a piano solo from that tour.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and there's a part that Neil's playing this awesome piano
Yeah,
solo.
exactly.
And it's obviously that's the one he's talking about.
Because
and
it's not
Stills-
blues.
And Stills thinks that he's playing it in this article.
Because it's not blues.
Because Neil plays almost all the keys. Like,
You can tell, like, whenever
Yeah.
Neil's playing anything. We've talked about this.
I know,
Whether
it's
it be
hilarious.
harmonica, guitar,
Anything, even
singing, piano. Sounds like him.
but it's just so funny. Turns out I can. No. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I
Well,
love
look at
how
this
ridiculous it was that they would just duel on stage and like crank
15
the amps.
Yeah, they were saying they couldn't. They didn't do any sound checks on this
No.
tour, these stadiums, and they would play, and it was because Neil and Steven were competing.
Mm-hmm.
They had their guitars so much louder that you couldn't hear anything else except. He's like, I don't think you could hear anything out
And
there as an audience.
And Nash and Crosby just crunched in the middle trying to sing a harmony.
Yeah, I think that you know what they need, because this article's from a couple of years ago. They need a Sam. They need a Sam O'Cal. They need someone. The technology might now exist
To make it sound good.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Don't
to
you
fix
think?
up the recordings.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, especially if they can just tune it up.
yeah,
and-
add some triggers.
Well, I think that Graham Nash already tried to tune it. He talks a lot about that. But it was even beyond repair to that extent.
Yeah, but that's because the tech didn't exist yet.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe on this tour, obviously we've talked about this many times, that there was the famous instance where Bob Dylan met them and Stephen Stills took him into a hotel room and Bob Dylan played him all of Blood on the Tracks, and then he told Bob Dylan that he thought it wasn't any good, any of the songs, and apparently Bob Dylan said, okay, Stephen, why don't you play me one of your songs?
Yeah, it's
But so the
amazing.
story goes that he was just too gacked out to be able to even like finger a chord.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if what he chose to play back to Bob Dylan after hearing Blood on the Tracks was the riff to Dark Star? That would have been sick if he's
You
like,
know what? Dylan would like it.
yeah,
It's
he's
kind
like,
of got a Desire Blood on the Tracks vibe.
yeah, it does. Imagine he
little
plays Tangled Up in Blue and he's like, let's see what you got.
Boom, boom,
Boom,
boom,
down,
boom,
down,
boom.
dang, dang, dang.
Yeah.
He'd probably be like, that's sick. Yeah, you're right. It does have a Desire kind of.
I think Stills is the one who's doing the most coke on the tour. Even though they're all fucked up, it seems based on his like memories of it. It seems like he was a bad cokehead to be around. Like he's a cocky. Well, most cokeheads get really cocky. You've said famously on this podcast that Graham Nash is your kind of cokehead because he kind of knows it's insane.
I think that Crosby'd have a go at what you're talking about.
Well,
It's
I mean,
hard to say. No,
wonder.
just like that he, I think he was probably, I think between him and Stills, it was pretty out of control.
I like this from Nash.
We'd written so many songs that it was hard to make a set list. We were all writing. During that tour, I wrote a song called It's All Right. I decided to go on stage and do it even though the rest of the guys had never heard it. On the tape, you can hear Stephen going, "What are the chords?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of a D to a G, and then you go to an A."
E minor.
I'm talking them through it and showing them the chords while we were performing. It was insane.
Insane.
Yeah, it's great.
Crosby took two women on tour with him. Crosby took two beautiful women with him on tour. Often I would knock on the hotel door, which he kept propped open with a security jam, and he'd be getting blown by both of the girls, all while he was talking and doing business on the phone, and rolling joints, and smoking and having a drink.
That's
How
some
do you
Don Simpson style shit.
how do you smoke, roll a joint, have a drink, talk on the phone, and get a blowjob all at the same time?
Have to be David Crosby, man. You have to be David.
That's definitely impressive.
He didn't have time to write lyrics.
No.
That's like a full immersion kind of
Well,
vibe.
you can't hold a pen when you didn't have any hands free.
No, exactly. It's surprised he didn't have someone sort of transcribing what he was saying.
Yeah, like the beat, like Mal Evans.
Exactly. He needed a Mal. They don't have the infrastructure, right?
No, and that's the
don't-
problem. I think that's why they got ripped off.
Well,
so
they,
bad.
I think they all got paid about $1,000 each, and the tour grossed in like 1974
$12
$11 million
or something. Yeah. That's
Sometimes
great. Neil
there
probably
weren't-
made
he probably made a
like
couple mil.
$5 million or something. Yeah,
He'd sorted it out. Yeah.
because he had Elliot Roberts, right, as his manager, so, and he was pretty cutthroat.
It's pretty weird though, like just how this is kind of more of a broad strokes thing, but
Yeah, that's fine.
we talk about it a lot, like just how these bands from the 70s, 60s and 70s all try, like how they all have different kind of processes to stay relevant to consumers. So like this is like an early attempt, I think, and I think we'll just see another one. CSNY are like a big band, and I think the issue is that Neil's not, well, he's not super interested in like remixing and remastering. He has all these vaults, right, of like legitimately of like shows he's played where he just puts them out on vinyls or Pomo or whatever. On
yeah, I
Amazon.
mean, they might get mixed, but he's certainly not into like fixing anything up.
No, he's not like Jagger, where he's like, oh,
No.
we're reissuing like, Some Girls. I'm going to re-sing a couple of tunes off it.
Because he was smart. Yeah, because he already established that what people like about his stuff is that it's not,
Yeah.
like that it's totally raw and
Well, have you
live.
listened to Barn? I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, man. It's not good.
No?
It's really not good.
But, like, this kind of, it must be a weird thing, like a weird conversation where it's like, okay, we're going through the Doom Tour stuff and we want to like, and they have to make this decision. I wonder if it's kind of like, not Hillman, Roger McGuinn in the Petty documentary when Petty's feeling himself and he's like, you motherfuckers are trying to teach this guy how to write a song,
Yeah.
like, and like, maybe they're so low on confidence and like, so confused by their role and are still hungry. I mean, obviously, like David Crosby's super hungry to be infamous still. It seems really important to him. That like they're like they've got some O'Kel style guys in the room being like, listen, if we just up the BPM, just tune it up a little bit, remix it, like, you might get to number one again.
We got to hear it. We got to
It's kind of
hear
like
it.
the beach, but the thing is, we'll hear it, but it's still they're going to have to redo it because we're living in a time wave zero kind of situation, and the technology is exponential. Like this is from 2 years ago. Like all I'm saying is, Beach Boys' "Summer of Love," that record, "Summer in Paradise,"
Yeah.
ahead of its time because they were trying to use the tech, like
Right.
it just didn't exist yet. Plus, they had one of the Manson family producing it, which could have been like, a bad luck potentially. But I'm just saying, it wasn't a bad idea. I think we'll see that again from the Beach Boys, and I think
Right.
we'll probably see it from CSNY, a kind of Giles Atmos style thing.
Like sort of striving for perfection before it was cool, is what you mean.
Well, I mean, Stills famously is like a perfectionist. Like the whole Deja Vu record took like 800 hours or something to make. They've not made that many records.
They already that one came out last year remixed, right?
Did it? I mean, it was its
Yeah.
50th anniversary, but I don't know if they've gone. I think they need to. I think this is what I mean. Well, let's
Did
have
the
a look.
Doom Tour stuff come out? Like, is it streaming, or do we have to get the CDs to hear what
Let's
we're
go
talking
on-
about?
Let's
here?
go on Spotify, one of my favorite websites.
I'm looking up Crosby Still.
There's
What
like
do you
a-
think is
there's
their
a
most
version of-
streamed song?
Oh, our house, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think's? Oh, you probably do you have it up?
I
in
got
front
it
of
up
you?
now, so it's
Oh, okay, so damn it.
doesn't count. I'm fairly
Ohio
impressed.
number 2.
Interesting. Almost cut my hair. 3. That's going to make Crosby feel good.
Yeah, you think so? Hey, yeah, definitely. Stills is choked. He doesn't even crack the top 4, dude.
No, he must be chill.
Carry On number 5.
Yeah. Okay, let me just look here. At
Deja Vu 50th anniversary. Is there is it
I'm gonna-
remixed?
It's a remaster.
Remastered, not remixed yet.
See, this
so
is,
that's
maybe
coming.
they couldn't afford it. Demos. We got some demos on
There's
the other
demos, yeah, but there's no Doom Tour stuff. What is Looking Forward 1999 album? CSNY.
Well, there's a song. I like the song. This is done well. 2 million. This is the song on it that's done the best. Let's put it on here. It's called Slowpoke.
Neil.
He's still doing
Got a real
it, eh?
Neil vibe.
Something opened up the gates again.
Classic.
I can't control it.
Golden for a heart of gold.
Here comes a mermaid and a little girl. Some open drawers from around the world.
That is literally Heart of Gold.
Yeah.
Listen to that.
It's also, it takes a long time. There's
Listen
another
to this turnaround.
peace of mind.
Listen to this turnaround.
Yeah.
Give us some harmonies, boys.
I got some medals hanging on my chest.
Oh, is he?
Oh, it's some war stuff.
Could be war stuff. 99, I guess it could be like... It's pre 9/11 though, isn't it? That was a bit disappointing. There's a song called Stand and Be Counted.
Uh-oh. I'm... Neil.
It's definitely
No, maybe not.
Neil.
Stills.
Being Neil.
This one's like Ohio. Same vibe.
Phases. Wow.
There was a piece of a song I heard the other day.
That's David.
Yeah.
Words I heard the singer say. Something in me loved the way that it sounded when he said how he wanted to stand and be counted.
It's bluesy,
Nice.
that. This song's called Heartland, and I'm having a nice time listening to this, honestly.
I'd like to check out the album.
This has kind of got a Henley vibe.
People come and go, living other lives,
It was insane.
running everywhere at such a speed.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
about
the
that.
Doom Tour stuff is not on Spotify. So we're forced to order, because I'd like to hear these recordings as well and maybe talk a bit more about it with you.
It feels important. I'm
So
just,
I
I'm just
could-
looking
I
at their
could- I could
greatest
order
hits
it right now,
Here, I'm just
potentially.
looking at their greatest hits. Shadow Captain, second song on their greatest hits. Seems
Yeah, it was
interesting.
probably
to
a
me.
hit. Hey, you like a lot of new music.
Oh,
What'd you
yeah.
think of that? I guess it kind of sounds like old music a bit, though. What'd you think of that Bruno Mars Anderson .Paak record?
I don't like the whole record, but I like the single.
Silk
I
Sonic.
like the Serban mixes a lot. I study that guy's mixes. He's the best in the world.
Yeah, I
Best in the
listened to
business.
I listened to the whole album last night. I thought it was kind of cool.
I mean, very talented guys, right? You know, sound like it would be a good thing to see live. you
Bruno
know?
Mars on keys. Is he a
Keyed
piano?
up.
Yeah, he's
He
keyed
can
on
play
it.
anything. That guy.
Anderson .Paak's probably the drummer, though, right? Does he play
Yeah,
drums?
he's an extremely good drummer. You know, world famous, I think. You
My
know.
nephew Spencer, who he's a lot cooler than me
Oh,
now,
yeah.
musical. He said it was good, so I listened to it.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the time that Steven Stills bought Paul McCartney a precision bass.
Yeah, because he said that Hofner's
Time
a
to
piece
stop
of
playing
shit.
it's time to stop playing a real instrument. Quote, real instrument. That's what he said.
That's insane to buy him one, as though he can't buy his own Fender bass.
I mean,
McCartney.
if someone bought me one, I'd be pumped.
Would you be pumped though if they handed it to you like super coked out and said,
Yeah.
here's a real bass because the one you play
It'd
is
be
a
even
joke.
better if someone
Yeah.
did that, because they still got a bass out of
Yeah.
it. And they made a fool of themselves.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about was just in general, Instagram accounts of all like classic rock guys. Because obviously John Lennon's running his own account from,
Yeah.
the rock and roll heaven.
Beyond the grave, yeah.
Because he's, he seems to have a lot of interest in, stuff that's very John Lennon-y, like kind of songwriting competitions and things like that, and like The Voice, that
like
kind of gamified versions
Clothes,
of.
sweatshirts and stuff.
Yeah, he likes selling sweatshirts and stuff for, his estate. But I was wondering who else runs their own Instagram accounts. And I think that all three actually, no, I don't. I think that Stephen Stills and Graham Nash run their own Instagram accounts because they comment on, first of all, they're extremely online, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. But they comment on each other's stuff all the time, and it's kind of cute, and it makes me think that they're cool. Because you'll see, like, David Crosby, not Crosby, I keep saying, I don't think he even has one. Does he have one?
You know who I know runs their own account?
Who?
Jimmy Page.
Page, yeah, well, his is good.
His is very much like, on this day, I was in New York, like, doing stuff, and I'm basing this all entirely that he does it in the first person. That's why I'm so certain that
David
he runs
Crosby's
it.
not running his own. It's in the third person, so it's just him flogging shit.
John Lennon, it's cool that he's doing some of these, like, collage style, where he does, like, eight posts, and it, like, adds up to one big photo.
Yeah, he's figured it out.
Yeah,
he's figured out
He's
the
really good at
algorithm.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you've got stuff like, Steven Stills is 100% doing his own. There's a photo of him up here playing a choral sitar, and it just says, the choral sitar, not used too much, but you'll hear it on Cherokee, the Steven Stills album. I don't know that one.
Cherokee, huh?
Yeah, and Tomboy, Live It Up, I guess. Sometimes borrowed by friends and still in the arsenal.
Here's a nice picture of Stephen Stills and Jimmy Page. It looks like Stephen Stills is in kind of his Vietnam outfit and
Nice.
presumably telling Jimmy Page to like play a real guitar or something,
Okay, well this is the song it's on, I guess. Oh fuck, this song rips. I think that Jimi Hendrix takes a solo on this song.
What album's this?
This is on his first solo one.
Oh.
It's good. I think it's actually Old Times, Good Times that Hendrix plays on. He plays a solo, and it's the last thing he did before he died.
To be a fly on the wall at that jam, huh?
There's a great song called Black Queen on this
Oh
song,
yeah,
too.
classic. We've talked about that. Have you ever watched the entire Manassas concert that's live on that's like super They play the whole album. Joe Layla just ripping on the congas here.
This is on his Instagram?
Well, no, it's on YouTube. I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But
Yeah, see, this is good. So this is wholesome stuff. Like you're saying, like you got Stills saying good birthday vibes going out to Jimmy Page today. Guitarist to guitarist, you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
I like that. Yeah, this is good. He's
No,
doing
no, I'm
Girl
sure
from
he-
the
I'm
North.
sure-
He's doing Girl from the North Country. He's probably trying to kind of repent.
Does Graham Nash do his own?
Black Queen. It's so funny that these guys, like, he's posting videos of himself playing Black Queen. Like, how many songs have they done? Like 4 songs. I wonder where Black Queen fits, on his, like, most listened to. You know what I'd really like to do?
What's that?
Just kind of like a full podcast where we do this, where we kind of go through Spotify and just kind of look at stuff. And
Full
like, talk about
podcast
it.
where we just like look at our phones and
Yeah, and like
don't
check
really
it out.
say anything. Yeah, it sounds great.
It's because Steven Stills here, interesting stuff. So Manassas, I get, is like on. He gets. I like this. He's got some great ones. Just Roll Tape.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Just Roll Tape.
I mean, I like that
Seriously,
Manassas
just
record,
roll it.
man.
I like them both. Down the Road's good too.
I don't know the second one. I should check it out.
You should probably check it out. Who has the most listens out of the 3 of them?
Solo?
Monthly. Yeah.
Monthly listeners. Oh.
Yeah.
Obviously not including Neil.
No, it's not including.
I'm going to say Crosby just based on the fact that he's kind of out there talking the most.
Okay, well, do you want me to give you the three of them in order of who has the most?
Sure.
Third out of the three of them is David Crosby.
Oh, wow. Wow.
With 273,000 monthly listeners.
Okay.
And he's got lots of new records, too.
Yeah.
Second, with 379,000, so 100 more, is Stephen Stills.
Wow. What
And-
the hell is... Oh, because everybody likes songs for beginners and all that? Wild Tales? Is that it?
Number one, with a whopping 462,000 monthly listens, is Graham Nash. A lot of it's coming from songs from beginners. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a Crosby and Nash record from 2004
Yeah.
that he
Well,
has
they're
a
both...
big song.
Man,
Lay Me
that's
Down.
Oh, yeah. Man, that is close. Like, they're all, like, within 200,000 of it. That must just infuriate them all. I wonder if they're just desperate to overtake the other one.
I feel
you
like,
know?
They must look at those numbers.
Of course.
I think they look at them for sure.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing for the rest of the evening? I'm gonna go make dinner.
I might try to pump up a little bit, and then I've got my lady
isn't it
coming
with the
home
weather
to
like this, man.
hit the pool, man.
That's really cool.
Right up by Hill. I can walk over to Hillcrest. It's on Mixolydian Drive up there.
Yeah, well, that sounds like your kind of place.
See if I can do it, though. I know what you mean. It's pouring rain here.
Is it? I've not even looked outside.
But I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, look forward to it, man. Have a great rest of your evening. And everyone out there, subscribe to our Patreon for an extra episode every week. It's on Sundays, and we're always keyed up on those episodes.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
for our people. Okay, everyone take care. I'll speak to you in a bit, Johnny.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.